is actually on course only 2 or 3% of the time. For at least 97% of the time it takes to get from the Earth to the Moon, it's off course. In a journey of nearly 250,000 miles, the vehicle is on track for only 7,500 miles. Or, to put it another way, for every half hour the ship is in flight, it is on course for less than 60 seconds. And it gets to the Moon. How is that possible? Because modern space travel is a masterful example of the slight edge in action. If this machine, one of the most sophisticated, expensive, and finely calibrated pieces of technology ever devised, was correcting its own off-course errors 29 minutes out of every 30, is it reasonable to expect that you could do better than that? And even if you were able to match the rocket's degree of accuracy, you'd still be perfectly on target, on track, and on course no more than 10 days per year. For anyone who lacks a grasp of the slight edge, being off course is something to be avoided at all costs. After all, if you're off course, you're failing, right? But those who understand the slight edge embrace Thomas Watson's philosophy about failure. Here is a more extended version of what he said. Would you like me to give you the formula for success? It's quite simple, really. Double your rate of failure. You're thinking of failure as the enemy of success, but it isn't at all. You can be discouraged by failure, or you can learn from it. So go ahead and make mistakes. Make all you can. Because remember, that's where you'll find success. On the other side of failure. Remember, the rocket got there, and so can you. Why? Because of continuous course correction. Your slight edge, a consistent series of tiny, seemingly insignificant actions, easy to do and easy not to do. And in this case, doing them leads you directly to the Moon instead of shooting off into the vacuum of outer space. You're hungry. There's a bunch of greasy junk food in a vending machine beckoning you. And you choose a salad or a piece of fruit instead. You're having coffee with friends, and they start griping, complaining about their work, their bosses, their jobs. And you find a way to change the subject, because you know that if the talk doesn't get onto a positive track within another 60 seconds, you'll find a reason to excuse yourself. Knowing the slight edge, you make the adjustment automatically. You make those right choices, the ones that serve you. You do those simple, seemingly insignificant things that forward your progress up the success curve. You read good books. You listen to motivating tapes. You hang around successful people who empower you. You're a 5%er, a winner, a success. Once you know the slight edge, you know that in getting from point A to point B, you'll be off track most of the time. And you know that it's the adjustments, those little, seemingly insignificant corrections in direction that have the most power in your life. Plan, do, review is an approach to learning that began gaining credibility in educational institutions toward the end of the 20th century, and it's used in some of the better schools today. It's a slight edge strategy. Students plan what they're going to learn and create their own activities and experiments for study. Then they do what they planned. And then they review their planning and doing to see if anything was missing to help them learn what could be done to improve the process and the results they've accomplished. Then they plug these new insights into their next plan, and they're often running up the slight edge curve to success. The operative slight edge strategy at work here is the constant and consistent back and forth of doing actions and correcting those actions, course correction, just like the moon rocket. What this strategy produces is what business management philosophy has come to call continuous improvement. This idea was introduced to Japan after World War II by an American, W. Edwards Deming. A remarkable statistician, Dr. Deming consulted and lectured Japanese industrial leaders about total quality. He taught that the system is the solution, and showed how it's always the source of the problem as well. Remember what happened to the Japanese and American auto industries in the 70s and 80s? The Japanese ate America's lunch in the marketplace. Know why? Slight edge strategy. They had it, we didn't. The Japanese took Deming's slight-edge teachings about simple little disciplines in improving quality, compounded them over time, and in less than a decade, they blew the much larger, richer, and more powerful industry leader, the United States, out of the water. So far out of the water, in fact, that the top-selling car in America for years was the Honda. It wasn't that the Americans didn't improve. The 1983 Chevy was clearly superior to the 1973 Chevy. But General Motors kept looking for those big breakthroughs, while the Japanese kept making little, seemingly insignificant improvements, which, compounded over time, enabled them to steal the spotlight in what was once almost exclusively an American car show. The Japanese had major automotive breakthroughs too, but they were the result of their slight-edge strategy. In the 1990s, the American auto industry made a quick comeback. Great cars, record sales, and profits. It was a stunning turnaround. And what turned it around were our automakers finally embracing the teachings of W. Edwards Deming. That a commitment to developing and sticking to a slight-edge strategy will absolutely, positively send you to the top. Plan, do, review. Creates a structure and support system for continuously improving. It's the strategy of constant course correction. The slight edge is the process. You choose which way it goes, up with the 5% or down with the other 95%. You don't just make that choice once and then say, I'm finished, now I'm all set. You make that choice moment to moment and keep making it every month and every day for the rest of your life. Each new moment will present you with a new slight-edge choice to be made. Before long, it will become natural and automatic. But when you first begin, it will require your constant awareness. Is it easy to do? Yes. Is it easy not to do? Of course. If you don't do it, will your life collapse? No, not today. But that simple error in judgment, compounded over time, will pull you down the failure curve, absolutely and irrevocably. No questions asked. Unless you accept the wealthy man's third gift, the choice, and keep on accepting it day by day and moment by moment. Throughout human history, and long before there were such things as books, universities, or continuing education programs, there has been one tried and true path for learning a skill, craft, art, trade, or profession. Go study with a master. All the great traditions of learning say the same thing. If you want to learn how to do something well, go find a master of that skill and apprentice yourself. The mentor-apprentice model is experiencing a tremendous surge in popularity right now. Mentoring networks, agencies, and organizations are springing up in all sorts of professions. And this doesn't surprise me in the least. With the advent of the internet culture, there has been an explosion in information over the past decade. Now we're starting to realize that information alone is not enough, and information plus personal experience, or the school of hard knocks, is not enough. We need some way to process all that information and experience and integrate it. And there's only one reliable, solid way to do that. Find someone who's already mastered an area and model yourself on that person's experience. To apply this principle doesn't require a formal mentor-apprentice relationship. Whatever goals you aspire to, just seek out people who have achieved the same or very similar goals, or who are well along the path, and go camp on their doorsteps, or do whatever you can to associate with them, emulate them. Let their grasp, understanding, and mastery of the subject rub off on you. If you want to raise the quality of your life, hang out with people who have been there and done that. If you want to be a great public speaker, spend time with great speakers. If you want to be a success in business, then find a way to spend time in the company of successful business people. If it's important to you to be a terrific parent, the best thing you can do to further that aim is to spend lots of time with men and women who have mastered parenting. You can define a society by the heroes it keeps. You can also define a person by the heroes he or she keeps. Who are your heroes? Who are you modeling yourself after? The 95% on the failure curve tend to accept the heroes society plants in front of them. Film stars, America's version of royalty. Rock stars, sports stars. I can certainly admire these folks, but I always ask myself, can I emulate them? Practically speaking, can I convert my admiration into constructive modeling that increases my learning and moves my own life forward? Too often, we make heroes out of people who can't help us, whose lives are fantasies, not genuine role models. Take a look at who your heroes are. Write down a list and examine it. Ask yourself, can I become like them? Are these people doing the kinds of things that I aspire to do and living the kinds of lives that I aspire to live? Can they really help me become who I want to become? Find people who have done what you want to do and surround yourself with them. That's learning through modeling, and it's a powerful part of learning how to understand and use the slight edge. The law of association. Do you remember a comment I made about income way back in the very beginning of this book? While I was sitting at the Phoenix airport thinking about my new friend, the shoeshine woman, I mused over this thought. Your income tends to equal the average of the incomes of your 5 best friends. The principle does not apply solely to your finances. It operates in every aspect of your life. Your level of health will tend to be about the average level of health of your 5 best friends. Your personal development will be at about the average level of personal development of your 5 best friends. Your relationships, financial health, attitudes, level of success in your career, and everything else about your life will tend to be very close to the average level of each of these conditions in your 5 closest friends and associates. We all understand this principle instinctively. Our language is shot through with idioms that reflect it. You're known by the company you keep. Show me where you fish, and I'll show you what you catch. Birds of a feather flock together. You are the combined average of the 5 people you associate with most, including the way you walk, talk, act, think, and dress. Your income, your accomplishments, even your values and philosophy will reflect them. The reason birds of a feather flock together is simply that they're all going in the same direction, headed for the same destination. Look at the people with whom you flock, the company you keep. What destination are they headed for? And is it where you want to be headed? This is a pass or fail test. There is no